My name is Andy Jordan, and I am the founder of a cybersecurity company called New Genesis Solutions. And when I had started my journey to start my own company, there were a lot of things that I didn't know. And I'm starting this as a 10-part series, and we'll see how long it lasts as a way to capture all the things that I learned along the way. This video is going to be based on business plans, but let's start with a story. Let's fast forward about 2 years into starting my business, New Genesis Solutions. And after 2 years of building New Genesis Solutions up, I had roughly $1 million in revenue. I had multiple full time employees, and I finally had a business plan. And while I have no intention of selling my business, and still don't, I wanted to understand what the value of my company was. So I went to the bank, and the goal was to see how much of a loan I could really get. I figured this would at least give me a starting point to see, how much I might be worth or the risk that I would be to the bank. So I brought everything I had with me to the bank. This is the same bank that I had a business account with, so they could easily validate my revenue. And I sat down and I shared my business plan with them. I talked through what the plan was, both in the past and where I was over 2 years, and you could easily see the progression. And then I would then talk about the next 3 years and where my expected revenue would be based on existing contracts that I've secured. Good news, bad news. Good news is I could definitely get a loan. Bad news is it was only based on the 2 year average of my personal tax returns. It had nothing to do with the business. It had nothing to do with the business plan. One of the biggest misconceptions that I had when starting out my business was that I needed to have a 50-page business plan that outlines everything to my business. And if I don't do this, then I won't be able to start my business and or that my business wouldn't last. And this was a misconception. This was false. When I started my business, I didn't have a business plan. I knew roughly what I wanted, but I didn't have a plan. Over the course of the first year, I did develop a business plan, but it didn't actually help me start my business. One of the things that helped me succeed my first year of business was to focus on survival as a business strategy. My mantra was that if it didn't help me survive, read that as put money in my pocket, then it wasn't going to help me. So these are three things that I did in my first year that did help me survive. The first was don't diversify as a hedge bet to success. The misconception I had is that I could pursue a bunch of different business ideas at the same time in order to see which one would be most successful. The reality was I was only able to succeed or to achieve success once I dedicated myself and my company to a single defined service. Any other service outside of this was actually a distraction to me and really prevented me from being successful. As a recommendation for the first phase of your business, be focused around a single service or product, and you'll be faster to reach a profitable state in your business. Misconception number 2: you're not late. I struggled with this one a lot. I've met a lot of people and keep reading about stories about some person who hit $10 million by the time they're 25. Here's a cool statement. I'm not in my 20s. I'm not in my 30s. And so don't worry about making any lists. You're going to be there when you're ready to be there. It takes years to build skills. It takes years to build confidence. And anyone who thinks there's a shortcut is really playing the long game in odds. You are exactly on time. I am exactly on time. The last one is an ongoing one for me, and that is being willing to try. I had a lot of ideas around business that I thought would work. Many of them didn't. And that is great experience. I will be forever grateful for the advisors that I met during my first few years. I learned there's a lot of things that I didn't know, And that's exactly where I needed to be. The pro side, or the benefits of having a business plan, are that they help to define the business goals of the organization. They will also outline how the business will make money. They align all operating members together. These are employees, contractors, other members of an organization that you need to be able to support your business, and even yourself as a leader. It also will help to facilitate investor buy-in if you're looking for venture or private capital type of situations. There are some drawbacks to having a business plan. The first is this is a set of assumptions around your business or your industry or environment that could change. So as a result, you should double check the assumptions that you made around your business plan because they could change. The second is this is useful for high level guidance, but it doesn't tell you how to make your business run. It doesn't give you the instructions around day to day activities. It will be good around setting high level goals, but not for the details that you need to drive your business. The last is that I have found for myself that a business plan is helpful, but it's only periodically reviewed. One of the first things that I needed to do when building out my own business plan was to identify what type of business I wanted to be. More specifically, what type of customer I wanted to have. There are two types. There is a business to business and then a business to consumers. These are fairly self-explanatory, but I feel like some decisions and some specificity is required. For myself, I wanted to focus on business to business because it made the most sense for the types of services that I wanted to deliver. A business plan defines how products or services are delivered to a customer. As part of that, I had to learn the profit life cycle as part of how a successful business is managed. There are, of course, products, which we've talked about, which are products or services, but sales, contracts, delivery, and invoices are all mechanisms in which need to be developed as part of a business plan. One of the things that a business plan will help to do is to define out what the go to market strategy is for that organization. Let's use New Genesis Solutions as an example. For instance, I know that I wanted to build out a company that was focused around cybersecurity solutions. Very specifically, I wanted to focus on vulnerability management, which is just where I'm at as a service. So, as I define my product or service, I also know my cost is all about my time. So, the value of my experience and my services in order to support organizations was the value proposition. However, how I define or build out my leads or lead generation, there's a lot of different mechanisms for that. You can have relationship, which is based on the relationships that I have with other cybersecurity companies or IT professionals that I knew. You could have referrals. And in this case, I met with a lot of different IT service providers. And while they were amazing at delivering IT solutions, they didn't have the expertise in their bench needed to deliver cybersecurity solutions, which made a partnership naturally pretty easy. The next, of course, is marketing, which is social media as well as email marketing campaigns that are out there. The other two are conferences around where you can physically meet with other either clients or partners or anybody that you knew or know in a physical space. And the last one, of course, is a website. All of these are going to be really helpful to define how you're going to go to market with your business. Here are the three things that I have found really helpful in creating a business plan. There are, of course, some more, but these are the three that I have found a lot of value in. The first one being a high level overview. Now, I built this one out by phases because that helps to identify where you are at each phase of the organization. Each phase is roughly 2 to 3 years. And ultimately, you only need to define some high-level milestones or objectives for each phase. So you don't need to know exactly how everything needs to be run. And so within each phase, try to focus on only a single problem that within your organization that you want to solve. And then, of course, as you look through the different phases, try to leverage the previous successes within the phases and use those to build on top. The next, of course, is a profit and loss statement. This one, of course, is going to be key for every organization, regardless of how big or small you are. For services-based organizations, as you can see here, this is a services-based organization. There is going to be a lot of costs related to operational expenses or OPEX. You should also get used to tracking the revenue, cost, and net profit of the organization as a percentage. This will help you to communicate your finances both internally and externally without having to tell somebody how much a specific thing is or how much you're paying in general. The last piece that I have here is a forecast tool. So every organization needs the ability to be able to forecast where they're going to be at various different stages. So again, we had phase 1 through 5, and I wanted to understand what my operational expenses would be as my organization continued to grow and where I wanted certain individuals. I used an Excel model to do this. I basically said, here is your hourly rate against how much time that person would be spending, and then multiplied by 2080, which is the total number of hours in a year that a person works. This gives me an ability to use fractional or part-time contractors, since I may not be able to pay somebody a full-time wage, and will also give me an ability to say if I need more than a single person to support a specific function of the organization. My hope is that this has been a really helpful overview in terms of business plans on where you can use them to help build out your own organization. Whether you have started your organization or you are thinking about starting your own company or organization, if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. Please feel free to comment below. And as always, please feel free to like and subscribe. I'd love to hear more and connect with you. Thanks.